The mic's turned on for all our video guys, and we are a go. Hey, we're here. Yeah, I love it. The mic's, of course, for the radio. And honestly, make sure John's all set up. Give us a test there, John.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There you go. All right. Hey, you're listening to Paul Lemire and Jonh Fillion.
Bonjour, mes amis.
Absolutely. I'm wearing my nice Habs Winter Classic jersey. Yeah, I brought it. I cracked it open for a special event that went down this week here, and we're going to celebrate on HABSOLUTELY here. Of course, we come to you every Wednesday in the studios of 4680Q from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. And, you know, somebody left a comment on one of my posts that could you please do it in French?
Je parle un peu en français.
Yeah, and I said, yeah, we don't do that. We don't speak French fluently or write it fluently. So I appreciate the comment, and I apologize to you, but unfortunately, that's probably not going to happen. But, you know, translate. Hey, get a translator. It's worth it. Go get a Universal Translator app right on your phone. Hold it up, and it'll tell you exactly what we're saying. Maybe I can even do closed caption on the
technology. Maybe we can do AI at one point.
Yeah, AI. Maybe they can translate it for you. But anyway, regardless, we are here today. We're a happy camper. And of course, John, there was a huge trade this week by Hughes, right? Well, last week now. I mean,
well, it went down on Monday, I think, right?
Oh, then it was this week. All right.
It seems like it's been forever because there's been so much news about it because it's such a big deal.
A big, big deal. And I call it the trade heard round the world. That's what I'm calling it because this was huge in the hockey world for us to get the one and only Patrik Laine.
I mean, yeah, it's remarkable. Our buddy Drew Deeks spoke about it a few weeks ago that the opportunity could exist, and we discussed it a couple of weeks ago about how it would, if we thought it would work for Montreal and how it could play out. And obviously, the rumors were that Patrik had been in Montreal, seen at the airport, and discussions obviously took place. Last week, Patrik and his fiance had announced that they had started and I believe it's an Instagram site at this point, in regards to giving people a platform to speak out about mental health and about issues and about great ways to cope and deal with mental health and people who are struggling. And he had also finished his program with the NHLPA and the NHL. As far as getting himself back online. And on Monday, it was announced that Patrik Laine will be a Montreal Canadian.
And we're gonna discuss that later in more depth, what we think, our opinions of this whole thing. Of course, you can tell by our smiles that we're pretty happy about it. But before we do that,
smiling faces all the time.
All the time. Hey, well, you know what we got to do before that?
Of course, we got to do Habs trivia.
We have to do Habs trivia. It's become a tradition here. And just mentioning Drew Deeks, it's too bad he can't be here because I know he'd be going wild.
I think he's trying out he's trying to be an actor, I believe.
I think so. Like, he did take drama. He's like Trudeau.
My understanding is that they're doing a new Baywatch movie.
Yeah, well, I saw him running down the beach.
But they're doing like a male version of it, right? You know how Baywatch was like, you know, one guy and it was a bunch of girls, you know? Now they're doing the male version of it, so there'll be one girl and a bunch of guys, and I think Drew's competing for one of those positions. Well,
so running.
Good luck, Drew.
Yeah, he's running down the beach, yelling about Patrik Laine, and also
we always wish you the best.
Yeah, he did the one video too, and he mentioned at the beginning. He showed when he said, "I'll be back when Patrik Laine is a member of the Montreal Canadiens," because he was so sure Montreal was going to pick him up, and he was right. And we talked about it. I went through several of our last videos talking about it, and I think at one point I said that you know, Zegras has dropped by the wayside, Nikras has dropped by the wayside. These other guys have all, but the one persistent rumor that never ended in the last, I'd say, well, the show I watched was July 31st. In the last 3 weeks was Patrick coming to the Montreal Canadiens. It's happened. We're going to talk about. Let's get into Habs trivia. Okay. And I put this down your alley, or up your alley, whatever you want to call it. Only one Montreal goaltender has scored a goal in the NHL.
Sneaking Sally through the alley.
On January 2nd, 2001, this goalie took a shot at the empty net after the New York Islanders pulled their goalie, Johnny Van Beesbrook, the Beezer.
2001.
Yeah, and the puck sailed into the empty net with 9 seconds left in the game, sealing the Habs 3-0 win.
Nice.
Who was that goalie? And I'm going to give you 4 choices.
Yeah, I have a guy in mind right now. So.
Jeff Hackett, Jose Theodore.
I like Jeff Hackett's mask.
Jocelyn Thibault and Matthew Guerin.
Why
do you like his mask? I got to get back to that.
Yeah, he had some really great artwork on his mask back in the day. I think it was some younger children who were like trying to be Montreal Canadian goaltenders, and I thought it was a really cool mask. I'll have to dig that out sometime, and we'll put it up on the show.
Okay, great. Now, who do you think was the goalie that scored that goal in 2001?
Goalie 2 and 3, what were they?
Jocelyn Thibault,
right,
and Matthew Guerin.
Okay.
So Jeff Hackett, Jose Theodore,
right,
Jocelyn Thibault, and Matthew Guerin.
I remember seeing a picture too once of Theodore and Thibault, and they were just starting training camp, and these guys were walking outside with their full gear on down a set of stairs with clamps on their skates, right? Skate guards. And I was like, where are they coming from? I don't know if they had been at a training session already and were being, situated to another rink or what was going on. But I just found it like the most amazing picture. And I really wanted to see that be a real tandem of goaltenders for the Montreal Canadiens, actually. It's one of those two, that's for sure, I believe. And I'm going to go with, Theodore. Theodore is still one of my favorite Montreal Canadian goaltenders.
Yeah, I agree. I liked Theodore a lot when he was on Montreal.
Yeah.
And you are right. It was Jose Theodore.
Merci.
So with movie star good looks, and he was a really good-looking guy.
He was
sharp.
He was a great goaltender. He wasn't big. I don't think he was that tall.
5'11", I believe.
But he played big, and he reminded me a bit of Rogie in the net. He got down and looked through every crevice to see where that puck was, and then make that glove save. I really and I remember him playing in the Winter Classic, the first Winter Classic, I think, in Edmonton.
He's the one that put that toque on, right?
Exactly. Another famous shot of him with the toque playing outside.
In Edmonton, I think it was.
Yeah, it was in Edmonton.
Yeah,
for sure. I think it was. Was it the first Winter Classic?
I think it might have been.
So yeah, hats off, pun intended there, to Jose Theodore.
Well, interesting fact about Theodore, and maybe I don't know if a lot of fans knew this. I don't know if Drew Deeks would know this, but but he was a southpaw. And at that point in time, there weren't too many southpaw goalies, like left-handed goalies. So it was kind of confusing for the players. They'd be shooting on what they thought was his blocker, and it was really his catching hand. So he was a very, very quick with the catching hand and saved a lot of shots that went on that side, whereas normally they would be sending it to the other side. So that was kind of an oddity at the time.
So you're saying Theodore caught with his left hand, caught with his right hand.
Yeah, most goalies, what do they catch with?
They catch with their left hand.
Their left, and they block with their right. Well, He caught with his right and blocked with his left.
And that's how I play.
Yeah, and so, a lot of players, when they come down, because there's such a predominance of right-handed goalies, they automatically shoot to the blocker side or whatever.
Absolutely.
Stay away from the glove side. And guess what? That's his glove side.
Exactly.
So it gave him a little advantage.
Yeah, I think there was a goalie in the 60s who played. Was Don Simmons like that?
Could be. I can't remember exactly.
I think Don Simmons, who was the backup and also played for the Bruins. I think he was like the only lefty in the NHL back then because, it was only 6 teams. But
That's possible.
But I've always been a fan of lefty goaltenders because that's the way I play.
Yes.
And what always was wild for me was the fact that when I played baseball, I caught with my left hand. And then when I played hockey, I wanted to catch with my right.
Crazy, huh?
I don't know why. It just was the most natural thing to pick up the goalie stick and catch with my right.
Yeah, wild. That's crazy.
So,
because usually you're the same. But he was drafted in the
it was always hard to get gloves, though, back then, because, if you're playing with other kids and they had goalie gloves, it was like, I can't use your gloves because they don't work.
Yeah, you couldn't borrow stuff.
Exactly.
You had to have your own.
Yeah.
Well, he was drafted in 1994, number 44 by the Habs. He got the starting nod in the 2000-2001 season, playing 67 games. He continued as the starter through the 2003-2004 season with Jeff Hackett as his backup, and was relegated to backup when a young goaltender named Cristobal Huet. If you remember Cristobal Huet, everybody. He took over as the starter in 2005-2006. Now, 2004-2005 was the NHL lockout, so there was no games.
Yeah, and I think Theodore was hanging around some lady in Toronto at the time.
Well, that could be. I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know if I can't remember if she was political or if she was like who's the family that owned a lot of manufacturing for cars?
Magna International.
Yeah, it might have been the Magna
people. Well, it could be. Well, he was a good-looking guy, man. And he eventually went on to play for the Avalanche, Caps, Wild, and Panthers, plus a couple stints over in Europe as well. He ended his 16-year career with a 2.68 goals against average, a .909 save percentage, and 33 shutouts.
Did he win a Vezina trophy?
Well, yeah, that's a great memory.
With Montreal.
His playoff record was 21-30, with a 2.79 goals against average and a .912 save percentage. His lifetime stats were 286 wins, 254 losses, 39 overtime wins, along with 30 ties. Because if you remember, overtime started as a 5-minute overtime with a tie possible if nobody scored in that 5 minutes. That's how it started.
It was like, get on the plane.
He kept his connection to hockey by becoming a columnist for the Journal de Montreal.
Le Journal de Montréal.
Now, his awards included the Vezina and Hart trophies in 2001-2002, and the Bill Masterson Trophy in the 2009-2010 season.
I mean, I believe a lot of Montreal Canadian fans thought we might win a Stanley Cup with Jose Theodore.
I think they did. He was that good, and the Habs had a decent team at that point in time. Not the best team, but he did. I thought he was a great goaltender. I really liked him.
He was a very good goaltender, but his tenure was a little short.
Yeah, with the Habs. I think he played like 5 or 6 seasons, though.
Yeah. But, I mean, it wasn't like CP.
Well, no, but CP won the Vezina. He won the Hart. So they.
But I mean, CP
was
there for like 16 seasons, right?
Maybe they should put his sweater up in the rafters too, Jose Theodore.
They ain't putting anybody's sweater up in the rafters until after about 5 years from now when we start winning Stanley Cups again.
Yeah. That's the bar. The bar is set very high for that. Now, a little more information about him. If you remember this, I don't know. But I also remember that in June of 2003, Theodore's family was connected to a criminal loan sharking ring where his 4 half-brothers and father were arrested for loan sharking, along with 16 other criminals in the sweep. The investigation found that Jose had absolutely no connection to this ring of criminals or his brothers and father, and he told the public that. And he asked the public not to pass judgment on his family until all the facts were revealed. The old innocent until proven guilty thing, right? Which is, that's what we do here in Canada. Most of the time, anyway. unless you're driving a truck blowing your horn in Ottawa, then you have your bank account frozen and you go to jail for 3 years for nothing. He was moved only 2 years after that whole thing there, that incident, and with the lockout season. You have to wonder how much did this play on his mind and his goaltending? Did it affect his goaltending? Because he was moved pretty quick after all that went down, and I think from Montreal rumors and everything, um, they probably are worse in Montreal than a lot of other cities when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think a lot of stuff was going on in Jose's life, and obviously, when you achieve success, you attract attention.
Yeah, and when your family gets arrested for loan sharking, that doesn't help any.
That doesn't help. I mean, like I say, people come out of the out of the shadows, and they want to meet you and be a part of your train or whatever, and get on for the joyride. And we see that happen to a lot of NHL players, and it's just a matter of being able to keep control of your life and restrain.
That's always a big worry in Montreal. When these players, start making it big and getting contracts, and they start hanging around some bars and places in Montreal. There's a big criminal element always in Montreal. The mob's big there, and sometimes these guys kind of get, not intentionally, and they just these guys are sociopaths, and they attract people. Like, they're pretty slick at what they do. And sometimes players do get caught up in it. We've seen many times, but not just in Montreal.
No, it can happen in any big city, right across the board.
So it was, when that came out, it was a big deal. But I remember Jose being a fan favorite and scoring that goal, cemented his place in the memories of Habs fans forever. A little bit of background on Jose Theodore, and he's still alive, and he's probably maybe still working for the Journal de Montreal. And thank you, Theodore, for the years you
Theodore
gave us.
Was played excellent hockey for the Habitants, and great goalie. Always one of my favorites for sure. A fan favorite, without a doubt.
Well, being a Southpaw, you could really you looked and said, "Hey, there's a guy that plays like me."
You can relate to that for sure. For me.
Absolutely. Excuse me, I get the hums here, and I don't know why.
The hums.
I get into the studio here, and this always happens to me.
Well, I mean, you're getting anxious because of
choked up.
Like, we're all getting anxious now because every week it seems there's a present under the Christmas tree.
Yeah, it's like Christmas every day in Montreal now, right? So that's a good segue into Patrik Laine trade. Excuse me. I don't think it can get any better for the Habs. There's no downside to this trade. Everybody's yelling about it. I've seen so many comments for and against it. But at the end of the day, I do not see a downside. He fits in, excuse me, he fits in while we wait for Demidov. He regains his scoring touch and stays healthy. We found a 40-goal man in a trade for what is basically a rookie defenseman and got a second-round pick to boot in 2026. So, John, do you see a downside to this? I mean, all the naysayers.
I think it's a remarkable coup for Kent Hughes to have been able to structure this deal. First of all, Patrik Laine is a great hockey player. Has all the potential to be a star in the NHL. He was drafted second overall in 2016. Right behind some guy who wears a blue and white uniform. And I believe he is just as good, maybe better, and he has the potential and ceiling to be that. I mean, physically, he brings great size to Montreal. We've always been, you've talked on numerous occasions about the size of the players. In Montreal, that we have some smaller individuals when it comes to measuring up physically against hockey players throughout the NHL. But Patrik is, I believe, 6'5", 210, 30 pounds. I mean, he's
a big boy.
He definitely can, I think, look after himself. Number one. Number two, he's a left-hand shot. He's a right-hand shot, I believe, playing on the left wing.
Yeah, he when I saw him on Columbus in that Columbus uniform, his size, I immediately thought, and I said this on the show July 31st. I thought Rick Nash. The way he skated, the way he could go through people, how prolific he was with the puck, and how good he was with the puck, and the talent he had. I immediately said, "God, he reminds me of Rick Nash."
Yes, you did. And the guy has, I mean, he's great talent. I mean, he had an amazing couple of seasons with Winnipeg. His first season and the sophomore season, especially. But even recently, I mean, he's gone through some problems with injuries, etc. And but I believe I heard yesterday or read yesterday that over his last 190 plus games, he's had a point in about 177 of them.
Yes,
or he has 177 points. So he's averaging almost a point a game as of recently.
Yeah, like it looks bad because he was injured. So you see like 8 goals or 10 goals or whatever. You see low numbers, but then you look at the games he played. He's almost scored a point a game when he's been on the ice.
And like I say, that's been in the last 190 games. That being said, I mean, if we can pick up a forward who is a point a game forward and maybe becomes a point, point three, a point five player per game, we're really hitting a bit of a stride. I think that's a real plus on our side, a big improvement.
And you look at that interview with him. I don't know if you watched it or not, but the interview with him, it was excellent. He said, the guy asked him, like, you think you're going to get 30 goals this year? And he goes, well, his attitude was, well, I hope not. I mean, I expect to get 40 or 50. And I just like somebody saying that rather than, well, I'll try, that, the expectation, like that kind of thing, like his confidence level and his joy at being a Montreal show.
Yeah, confidence is huge. I mean, we drafted a guy earlier named Demidov, and that's exactly what his first interviews were bringing, was the confidence that he had to come and play in historic Montreal, recognizing that it's really the best place to play hockey. I mean, it's the number one market without a doubt. If you're a professional hockey player, you should wanting to be playing in Montreal. Number one. Number two, the fact that he feels that he'll be successful in that market, that he's not intimidated to coming into that market, that he relishes the opportunity to be in that market. That's a great big takeaway on both Demidov and Laine.
Yeah, and I love it because if we're not going to be seeing Demidov for probably at least a year, not this season coming up, we might see him the season after that.
I think it's going to be next season.
Well, that'd be nice if it was.
I think so.
If we do, I mean, that's great. Then that just adds to it. But if we don't, then we have Laine to fill in. It's only a 2-year contract, $8.7 million. But
it's a contract that has 2 years remaining on it.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. 2-year contract.
So it's not like we signed him for a 2-year contract. No, we traded for a player who has 2 years remaining on his contract.
Yeah, then he's a UFA and he's gone.
Yeah. Well, he could be gone.
Well, if we don't sign him, if he doesn't perform, that's the beauty of it.
Well, the beauty of it is the fact that we picked up this great individual, and we traded for him, and we traded a defenseman that we happen to have what's the word I'm looking for? We have so many defensemen.
Well, he was going to definitely be on the trading block.
Yes, he could be.
No doubt about it.
But at the same point is we have a wealth of defensemen at the left-hand position.
Yeah, and Hughes was more interested in Barron than he was in Harris.
So we definitely, though, are going to have to at one point move some defense people so that some other defense people in the system, like Logan Mailloux and Lane Hudson, can actually start playing in the NHL. So we traded a defenseman that we have a wealth of for a forward. That's great and we traded for a forward who has success in scoring goals in the National Hockey League, like presently. Not,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's not like somebody who's never played in the NHL. No, he has a history of being a very good goal scorer.
Yeah, and with only 2 years left, there's very little to lose and a lot to gain if he decides he wants to play in Montreal and gets back to his former form.
I'm not looking at it like there's even a loss factor here. Like, this is just a good trade. We moved a defenseman that we were probably going to move anyway because we are trying to onboard some of the people that we have drafted and feel are going to be very important in the success of the Montreal Canadiens in 5 or 6 years. And we moved one of those defensemen, and for that defenseman, we got an NHL forward who has an amazing upside. He was drafted 2nd overall. We know he can play hockey. Now it's a matter of, will he be prolific? Will he have an amazing career playing hockey for the Montreal Canadiens? And we have found that this gentleman wants to play hockey for the Montreal Canadiens. And he is impressed with the program as well as the team and and everything about the team, the head office, the player, the coaches, the owners. He likes the philosophy and the culture of the Montreal Canadiens. He's excited to go there and start his career fresh and new. I don't see I don't see this being a 2-year window. I see this being a 6 to 8 year window for this player, maybe longer if he lives up to the expectations that he's putting on himself, as well as the expectations that I believe the Montreal Canadiens have for him.
Well, that's the if part. If he doesn't, then it's an $8.7 million bust.
But you know what? That's a bust if Laine Hudson doesn't live up to our expectations. That's a bust if Nick Suzuki or Cole Caulfield or anybody else that we signed to a major contract doesn't live up to our expectations.
Exactly.
So I don't see it. I'm looking at it as this, just like signing Cole Caulfield to an 8-year deal. I'm looking, and everybody being excited. Oh, we've locked him up. Signing Nick Suzuki to an 8-year deal. Oh, great, we've locked him up. Signing Slafkovsky to a deal. Oh, great, we've locked him up. I'm looking at it as, we just acquired a gentleman who was drafted 2nd overall in the NHL draft in 2016, who can play amazing hockey and wants to play hockey, wants to kind of get started again, wants to contribute to the team and do whatever it takes for the team to win. That's what he said. I'm going, how exciting is this?
Oh, it's great. If he does what he's supposed to do, we'll know when he hits the ice.
And just like, and I can only stress again, if Caulfield does what he's supposed to do, if Slafkovsky does what he's supposed to do, if Nick Suzuki, if Kirby Dach does what he's supposed to do.
He's another roll of the dice.
These
guys are all rolls of the dice. And we're hoping we don't roll snake eyes.
Everybody is a roll of the dice. But what I think we've done is we're making good decisions.
But for $8.7 million, there are players who aren't a roll of the dice. They have proven themselves. They are goal-scoring phenoms, and they score goals. So, this guy really has not played a lot of hockey in the last 5 years. He's been injured most of the time, broken clavicle last year. He's been getting minimum games in, not very many. And he's got the talent, but there's always that roll of the dice with a player like that.
Kirby Dach has
another roll of the dice.
He's played one game, last year.
Played
one game last year. The year before he played a few more.
Yeah, he's a roll of the dice too.
So, but we're believing that Kirby Dach will be a part of the success of the Montreal Canadiens in the future.
Yeah, he's 22 years old, or something like that, isn't he?
Patrick is only 26.
He is.
Only 26.
Yes, he's been in the league for 8 years.
When I'm thinking, and that's great. So he's got experience.
He does.
Which is excellent because he can bring that experience, and he's already spoken about it, to helping out, individuals who are just joining the NHL for Montreal. So he's already seen himself helping to be a model to other players.
Yeah, and
so he's already talking about being generous with his time towards the team.
And his meetings with Martin St. Louis, Gorton, and Hughes must have went extremely well. But there's one wild card in all this that a lot of people don't know about.
Really?
Yeah.
Fill us in.
Well, they made their decision based on talking to Laine, but I think there was somebody else in the background who gave them the nod to go ahead.
Donald Trump?
Well, Donald would know. Yes. If Donald Trump was meeting with them, I would say yes. But no, it was Pascal Vincent, because Pascal Vincent dealt with him on Columbus and on Winnipeg. He knows Laine. He wanted to help to build Laine back to what he was.
He has spent the time with Laine.
Yes, sure. Yes. And he basically, I think, Laine had some input into it.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Why wouldn't he? Because Laine is going to be coaching consistently. He's going to be coaching a lot of players who are eventually going to be on the big team of the Montreal Canadiens. And what Montreal is trying to do is build this huge team, basically, so that people know what they need to do and realize that the responsibility that they develop playing for Laval carries through into the NHL with L'Équipe Canadienne.
Especially with his experience with Laine. And you know what? I'm sure that if he said to these guys, no, do not come near this guy. So that shows the confidence, because he said, yeah, he'd be a good pickup. Take him. You can work with him. And I think that probably, when you're sitting on the edge, like, is he not gonna, 8.7 million, blah, blah, blah. We're not giving up anything for him. He'd be a great acquisition. And I think maybe a guy like Vincent coming in and saying, giving the nod, maybe was the thing that pushed that deal to be done.
I kind of think, with the way the Canadians are now, the way they operate, is that everybody has to be in. And that's the mentality of the team. That is the culture they are building. We want players who want to play for us. I think, as much as there could have been like 6 or 8 management people that said, we got to take this guy, if Laine didn't come in and say, I want to be a part of this team, and interview well, he wouldn't be. So you have to check every box now for Montreal.
And this is a big deal, because if Hughes is wrong and this guy turns out to be a bust, it's all going to go back on Hughes and these guys.
I see, and I disagree with that. I think it goes back on the entire team. So that's part of it. So MSL, Hughes, Jeff Gorton,
So you think they're going to blame the whole team and not Gorton or not Hughes?
Yes. They all are taking. I think they all.
It doesn't happen in the NHL. The coaches and the managers get blamed.
It's going to happen in Montreal, because Montreal now, everybody's taking responsibility, and that is what they're preaching. And so, listening to,
but I'm not talking about the internal. They're not going to blame each other. I'm talking about the fans.
Oh, well, who the fans blame really doesn't matter.
Well, I've seen coaches and guys get fired because the fans want them out of there.
I don't think that's happening in this.
You don't think so? Okay.
No, I don't think that's happening in this culture of Montreal.
Well,
I think, that's why you're getting players who are phoning up people when they get traded or get drafted and saying, welcome to the Montreal Canadiens. I don't think that's happening at every team right now. I think the whole level of being a Montreal Canadien is so different than most NHL teams. Now, I can't say that about every NHL team, because I don't know them all. But I do know, I believe I kind of know what's going on in Montreal. and listening to what they say and what they talk about. And my big takeaway from Kent Hughes this week was in his speech, he used the word responsible. We're looking for individuals who are responsible for the hockey team. I mean, I talked about communication a couple of weeks ago. Now, today, I'm talking about responsibility. And so you need what their expectations are is, yeah, of course, you draft a player because they score goals and you're paying them $8 million. Yeah, you do expect them to be putting the puck in the net.
No, I do.
But at the same point, you are saying what's really important for us is that you're responsible to everyone on this team, that you're here to give your best every minute, every second, every day to make this team a better team. And we all believe collectively, if we have a better team, we will win a Stanley Cup. That is our goal ultimately. But if we create a better team and we're responsible to each other, we will win a Stanley Cup. And I think that's what's exciting about playing in Montreal right now. I think that's what's exciting, that they're bringing this concept back to the best market for hockey in the National Hockey League. And I think that's why you're getting so many players who want to be Montreal Canadiens. And those players who want to be Montreal Canadiens don't have fear about, oh, it's going to be tough to play there and you might get criticized by fans. And then the sports journalists are going to say this and that. They are not those kind of players. They don't care. They are connecting with other people who want to win. And Patrick Laine, he's had 6 years in the NHL, like you said.
Yeah, and
from those 6 years, and from those 6 years or 7 years, he's learned that, you know what, I can put the puck in the net, but I want to do more than just put the puck in the net. I want to win hockey games.
Well, that's what he said.
I want to be on a winning team. I want to be on a team that wins a Stanley Cup.
Well,
and I want to play for a team that is notable historically for being the best hockey team, the best market of hockey in North America.
Yeah. See, I think this is a little bit of an illusion, because there's been no expectations on this team for the last 3 or 4 years to do anything. They came in last. They came in 28th. They came in whatever. So everybody's kind of got a free ride. I mean, nobody's really been taken to task by the fans. They're not expecting anything from these teams. But things are changing really fast towards the expectations. And I think the attitude will change when Patrick Laine starts next year and gets 10 goals. I think the attitude towards him will change huge if he doesn't come up with a good season. And I think right now these guys are kind of in this la-la land where they don't have to really be that great, because if Montreal comes in 27th, everybody said they would anyway. We got nothing, da-da-da. But now Hughes is changing that whole thing. There are expectations going to be put on these guys, and we'll see how they live up to it. I think they will. I think everything that you just said means that they will live up to the expectations we have. And Laine himself will be held responsible by the other players. He will not want to underperform because of the guys around him and what they're doing. And so I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and I think Laine will do whatever it takes to contribute to the Montreal Canadiens winning games as well.
That's what he said. He said, I don't care if I score 50 goals. I care if Montreal wins games. And I love it.
Exactly. But we also know that Laine goes, you know what? I'm in the best mental shape I've been in for the last 6 years. I'm in the best physical shape I've been in the last 6 years. I'm also still capable of shooting that puck.
I've also had the best looking girl for the last 6 years that he's ever had.
I thought you were talking about you.
No.
Okay.
Well, we both have beautiful women. I mean,
exactly.
This is absolutely.
Of course, we're Montreal Canadian fans.
But I'm going to give you a statement.
Okay.
And you tell me what you think of this.
Okay.
Pascal Vincent said if Patrick Laine wanted to be a goaltender, he would be a great goaltender. He is so talented, it's not even funny.
And
I love that statement.
well, you can see the talent when you watch the reel, right? I mean, you watch one of those highlight reels of him scoring goals, and you're like, "Wow, this looks amazing."
Yeah.
You know, and I think Patrick Laine has, like, he's going to challenge himself. He knows where he's at now. If he's feeling good about himself and the mental thing is good, he knows he got drafted second overall. He knows there's one guy that got drafted before him. And I think Patrick Laine is going to go and prove to people that maybe he should have been drafted first.
Well, I'm saying he's going to get a goal and an assist the first game against the Loafs on October the 9th.
Well, that quite possibly could happen.
I think it is. I think he's going to score and get an assist.
And I just think that we're going to have a better team on the ice this year than we expected 2 weeks ago. Number one.
I agree.
Number one. I think that the train is picking up speed. So, we left the station, but now you can't see the train from the station.
But it's funny, a couple weeks ago with Drew Deeks, we were going through the list of teams that we have to jump, like our path to the playoffs.
Correct.
This adds a totally new dimension to that, because Patrick Laine could be the difference between getting in that wild card and just not quite making it. That's how much of a player he is.
Think about Patrick Laine contributing on the power play.
Oh, that's
so now
huge.
If we have a power play that is still going to be like, Slav and Cole and Suzuki, maybe Doc and Matheson. Well, now we've got another guy who can put the puck in the net from the same place that Cole likes to sit.
Yep.
On the second line power play. So that adds a huge dimension, number one.
Well, they're talking about him, Doc, and Newhook being the second line now.
That would be the second line. So now we have two power lines. We have like two really good scoring lines. So that's going to challenge competitors as to who takes which line. Who do they match up against these lines now? And that also opens up ice for that third line, because I kind of think Gallagher, Armia, and whoever else, Anderson, they're going to be challenged to step up and be part of the party. You're going to want to be part of the party. You're going to want to celebrate. You're going to want to put a puck in the net and then be able to skate to your bench and slap every one of those hands.
I agree. I agree. You want to be part of it.
You want to be part of it. And so, you don't, when the train leaves the station, you want to be on it. And that's what responsibility is all about, being on time. And I think that's what they're talking about. I believe by making the trade as well, like I say, you're telling Logan Mailloux, you're telling Lane Hutson, there's an opportunity for you to play hockey with the Montreal Canadiens this year. Do you want to play?
Yeah, and they're going to be up for sure.
But do you want to play? Are you going to show us in September that you want to play? Because there is opportunity to play. It's not like there are positions available if you want to play. And I think that's important as well. And so there's so many factors to this trade that are like amazing. Like I say, even the culture and character is being it's being not only established, but it's being collaborated. So everything that you hear always coming out of the mouths of management is being like, yeah, it's true, because because that's what we're doing. We're here to help people be the best that they can be, and we believe that if they are and they're responsible, that we will win hockey games and we will win a Stanley Cup.
So, moving on, is it possible Habs are going to have another trade here? Are they finished now with this last trade, or are they going to be looking for more trades? They have an abundance of right-handed shots on forward, they may be looking for some left-handed personnel. Do you think it's over, or were you looking for somebody else?
Like I said, you got a right-hand shot, playing left wing. I mean, that's what the Rocket did, and he had a lot of success
in
so doing.
A little bit.
And it gives you a different window of looking at the net from an angle. It actually opens up the net a bit. Positionally. This trade, I don't really know if Kent Hughes was looking to make this trade 2 months ago, or 3 months ago, or 4 months ago. I don't really think so. I think a lot of this trade has to do with a guy named Patrick Laine getting his life back together, feeling good about who he is, physically and mentally, and realizing it was time to turn a page in his career, and he needed a fresh start. So he had to get out of where he was playing, or decided that was the best way for him to be who he wants to be. And therefore, the opportunity came up that because of the position he was in, the team that had him, they didn't want to carry any of his contract. And it just happened that Kent Hughes was interested in a good hockey player and could also have the cap room to do such.
Well, an interesting factoid, he was number 29. That's his number.
Yes.
So they can't give him 29. Obviously, that's been retired for Kenny Dryden.
Absolutely. And I wear 29 on my back as well. So you can't have that number.
No.
Because I'm not going to be running around with his number on my back. No, that's not going to happen.
Well, you know what? For all you guys who want a sweater, they're coming out any minute now.
Well, I think when they're making the Demi-Da sweater, and right after they make a Demi-Da sweater, they make a Laine sweater.
Yeah, so Drew Deeks will have one. Don't worry. He's got one of each.
They make a 91.
92.
For Demi-Da.
92 for Laine.
Exactly.
That's what they're going to do. He's taking 92. Anybody's going to buy one. 92 is his number.
I think it's great. I think it's fabulous.
I can't wait to see the guys step on the ice. I can't wait to see any of these guys step on the ice, to be honest with you, Richard. I'm excited.
How could you not be? Because the team has improved immensely in the last 2 days, that we now have a second line that could be a powerhouse. The second line could be the first line.
It really could. Got the talent on it.
It has the opportunity. So let's see what happens. And it's good. And like I say, that's going to be a challenge to every NHL team, saying who's covering who here.
Yeah. Well, I said it. I said a long time ago that I think Montreal Canadiens this year are going to be looking at a wild card spot, and they're going to be battling for it. And they just need something maybe to push them over, like a really good performance from Caulfield and Suzuki, and Doc coming back and Newhook coming back. Now it's apparent to me, even more than ever with Laine, that this guy is the guy who could push him over that threshold into the wild card position. And I think we're going to be happy this year, Habs fans. I really believe it. I really do.
We're stepping in the right direction, obviously.
Yeah.
Now, so power play is key for him, as well as 5-on-5. But the other dimension that he'll add, I believe, will be shootout. So I haven't gone back.
Oh, I never even thought of that.
I haven't gone back, but I thought about going back to see how many games did we lose in the shootout. So what if we have Laine in the shootout and he's scoring a goal instead of us not getting a goal in the shootout? How many games do we win because of that?
Yeah, well, it could be huge.
It could be 4 or 5 games. 4 or 5 games, 10 points.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Another 5 points. Anyway, it makes a difference.
In the 1-goal games we lost, we played 41-goal games.
There you go. It makes a difference.
Now, my only thing now is about goaltending. If we can get steady goaltending,
well,
and
you talk about trade, right? Okay, so I don't think Kent Hughes was looking for a trade. I think he was very happy with his draft. And then it's like spending time on player development, and knowing that this is how we feel the Montreal Canadiens are going to have to look and how we're going to onboard everybody over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Knowing that Reinbacher is going to spend a year in Laval, knowing that Hudson Mailloux will probably step on the ice this year, knowing that Demidov will be spending a year in Russia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then starting to think, okay, Hage, when is he going to come into play?
A couple of years.
But those are all the things that I think Ken Hughes is dealing with, as well as keeping everybody, in the climate, because you still have Gallagher and Anderson and all these people that still need to be motivated. So I think everything is, but now what's happening is, you're getting guys like, Demidov going, yeah, I want to play for Montreal. Now you're getting Patrick saying, please trade me to the Montreal Canadiens. I would play there. Trade me. Yeah. Please, I want to play there.
And I'm going to play Drew Deeks here for a minute. Don't underestimate Philip Machar.
There you go. There you go. So
I always keep forgetting about him, and then I remember Drew Deeks is hot on this guy, so he could be another guy.
For sure. There is so much out there in that sense. Now, there's a goaltender right now playing for Nashville who's a quality goaltender who wants to be traded.
Asimov or something like that.
Wants to be traded. I don't know if we're ready to take that goaltender on. But again, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future as far as who's going to be the player that we, or who's going to comprise the core team. But we do know we have a lot of good hockey players. And if we continue to look after them and take care of them, we will have hockey players that people will want to trade for when we need a goaltender, if that's the case.
Yeah, well, that was the one trade that that is still hanging out there. Maybe I don't know if Hughes is going to do it with $8.7 million. I don't even know if Habs have the room anymore to be able to pick up a guy like that. But
I think it comes down to, again, we're working towards getting through the next 3 to 5 seasons so that the players that we've drafted are ready to play hockey in the NHL.
And they're all up. All the guys that we have worked on for the last 2 or 3 years
that we believe are important for us to win a Stanley Cup, that they're playing in the NHL. And at that point in time, whatever is going to be needed has to be acquired. So, and again, we know anything can happen, injuries, et cetera, but how you can't feel good about having a player join your team who plays extremely well offensively in the NHL and has the aptitude to be a 40, 50, 60 goal scorer. How can you not be excited about that?
I don't think anybody is not excited either way.
I think it's great.
I think there's a lot of excited people out there either way.
I think it's great.
So do I.
And I can't, and I think Ken Hughes, even, if something happens, I don't even want to say it, but if anybody that Ken Hughes drafts or trades for isn't successful, so be it. I don't think it's on Kent Hughes. I don't think it's on MSL. I don't think it's on, the team owner. But because they're doing everything to the best of their ability. And that's all you can ask. And that's what responsibility is about, is being your best and being responsible to all the people around you who expect you to, bring the coffee, back in the day, and what I think they've developed, and I wrote this down this morning, is it's organizational behavior. So, and what I mean by that is they're setting a tone for the way this team goes about doing their business of playing hockey to win games and ultimately win more games than any other team, and therefore win the Stanley Cup. And you've got to, there's certain things you got to do. Back in the day, you worked on Queen Street, you worked at a retail store. sometimes you'd be busy, sometimes you weren't. When you're not busy and you're stuck in a store all day, you like to go outside like a day like today and catch the rays. But that standing outside in front of your store is sending the wrong signal to customers who are going by, because they go, oh, maybe it's not busy in that store, so nobody wants to shop there. So why would I go in there? Why would I spend my time? And it's that type of behavior that has to be transcended into the hockey motif and carried on. And I think that's what this team from the top down is doing, and they're finding players who embrace it.
Yeah, I think they have. They found them all. So let's end the show with Le Troisième.
Is the show over already?
Yeah, it's almost 1:00.
Wow, it is time for lunch. Hum-dum.
I'm going to go and get some poutine and pea soup.
But, that sounds excellent, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's delightful.
Absolutely.
Delish.
Le troisième tour de la semaine dernière. What do you think it is?
I mean,
what do you got?
I think, obviously, you've got to give everyone in this Montreal organization, as you say, from, the coach in Laval to the owner of the team, to the general manager, to the head coach of the Canadiens themselves, as well as the players, in their acceptance of bringing in Patrick Laine to be a Montreal Canadian.
No, I agree.
That to me, they're the first star. The second star, I think, is going to be Patrick Laine himself, because he said, I want to come play here. I'm excited. I want to restart my career. I believe that I'm healthier than I have been over the past 6 years. In fact, I'm starting an organization online on Instagram with my fiance. We're going to encourage people to share stories about their trials and tribulations with mental health. And maybe there are some success stories there that can be transmitted and translated, and maybe someone else can actually find relief and success in the online discussion. Kudos for him for doing that as well.
Yeah, I love it. That was my second star too.
Yeah.
What's your third star?
My third star is keep the Canadian, I guess. Like this team is getting better and better. It's getting more exciting. I mean, we just can't wait to see what's going to happen in September. I mean, it's good. There's so much to look forward to. I'm looking down that line, and the train is fading out of view. I can't see the train anymore, but I know it's on the way.
Well, I differed with you in the third star.
Okay.
The third star is Patrick Laine's girlfriend. And I'm going to tell you why.
Please tell me.
Because she got on there and she said they can't wait to get to Montreal. And she's actually taking French lessons to learn the language.
Maybe we should join her.
Taking French lessons.
Yes.
So that we could talk to the guy who said, please do your show in French.
We could do the show bilingually.
Oui, oui.
C'est bien.
Oui, oui. C'est bien. C'est vrai. But anyway, I got to give her the third star. I mean, let's face it. These players have enough to go through. Patrick's got enough to go through without his girlfriend whining and complaining about not wanting to go to Montreal and all the other stuff. These women, they really do have an effect on the players. And the more support that they can get, the happier they are, the better they play. So I am so glad that she's on board with this. She loves what Patrick's doing. She loves coming to Montreal to the point where she's going to go take French lessons so she can speak French. I just think that's fantastic. Third star to her. Every player needs support. And with a good woman behind them, they're usually a lot better than they would be without a good woman. So congratulations.
That's what Napoleon said.
That's right. That's right. He met his Waterloo. And some of the players do meet their Waterloo, I mean, with women. But this is great that she's all into it. And he's all into it. We know it. He said it. And, of course, Hughes, what a great job he's done. And I say, in Hughes, we trust. And I really believe it. So if Hughes thinks this guy is good, if Gordon thinks this guy is okay, if Marty St. Louis thinks this guy is okay, and Pascal Vincent, who I think was the guy who pushed these guys over the edge as to whether they're going to take him or not. I think these guys are doing a great job, and I just got to give them credit. And I keep saying, in Hughes, we trust. Has he led us wrong yet? I don't think so. I think he's done a hell of a job.
I think he's doing a great job. And, it's to me, and we're going to see it very, very shortly. We're going to start seeing a little more behind the scenes of this Montreal Canadian hockey team, I believe, on a Crave program starting in September.
That's right.
And I think that's going to be exciting in itself to see what's going on in that culture. To seeing it firsthand, in the dressing room.
I think a lot of people will be surprised. I really do, because when you watch these guys and you just watch how they interact, you read into the things that are going on, like they're getting married and everybody's there. They're going to the Bahamas on vacations with each other and hanging out with each other. These guys aren't just hockey players. They're good friends too. And that they're responsible to each other. Go back to being responsible.
Exactly. They're responsible to each other.
They don't want to let each other down. And when you get a team like that, guess what?
And that's the takeaway for me this week with Hughes, is him talking and preaching responsibility to these players, them buying into the concept. So now they're in it. I mean, you want somebody that has your back when you're out there on the ice. And that's what we're seeing.
I love it.
People who want to win together.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is so important. It's so important.
And on that note, we're getting out of here. My name is Paul K. Lemire. Thank you for tuning in.
Hold
on, we got something else.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Newsflash.
Patrick Laine, right?
PL, Paul Lemire.
I got it written down. PKL. Is that his nickname? Do we call him PKL?
Yeah.
Like
that's what they call me.
We call MSL. We could call him PKL.
That's what they call me.
There you go.
PKL.
PKL.
Okay, Lemire.
That's what
your service.
That's what I'm thinking. We got PKL playing for the Habs. How good is that?
It doesn't get better.
Exactly.
We had PJ, PK. We had PK Subban.
You had PK. Now we have PKL.
That's right. Have a great day, everybody.
Don't forget.
Give us the thumbs up.
Like us.
Subscribe. Comment. Subscribe.
View and share.
Share.
Share. Oh, and by the way, make sure you're working out. Okay, this is the Jungle Gym hat here in Niagara Falls. Make sure you're working out.
Stay in shape.
Stay healthy.
Don't be like me. Stay in shape. And you know what? Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. Even the guy who said in French that you should do it in French, I answered him in French. I got a translator.
Je voudrais de parler avec toi en français.
Yeah, we're going to go for French lessons with Patrick Lonnie's girlfriend.
We'll work it out.
We'll steal her away.
Well, we won't do that.
Well, you never know. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate your everything to do with YouTube, the likes, the comments, the thumbs up, the subscriptions. And we'll see you next week on Habsolutely at noon.
Watch the surf, Drew.
And, Drew Deek, I got he might even come in next week. You know what? He says he's so into this, you can't believe it. He's probably gnawing on his leg on the beach somewhere because he can't get into the show. But we love him anyway. Thank you, Drew Deeks, for everything you do for us and coming into the show every once in a while. Have a great day, everybody. We're out of here. Au revoir.
Yeah, this guy is going to be